To say the least, 2015 was an incredible year of rail fanning from coast to coast, with the adventures beginning on the eastern shores of the Sunshine State and stretching along the banks of the mighty Mississippi, before finally reaching waters in the Pacific Northwest. Somehow it was only fitting that the final trek of my endless summer would take me to one of the most impressive river canyons in Canada. Canada's Fraser and Thompson River canyons converge in the heart of British Columbia, between the Cascade Mountains and Pacific Ranges. These canyons offer contrasting scenic beauty within the same region, but the cooperative operations of Canadian Pacific and Canadian National Railroads between Hope and Kamloops makes it a singular sensation for rail fans. It's the rugged terrain and the tracks routing through this old Gold Rush trail that got me, KJ, and Mike Danneman itching to trek from the Midwest to the Northwest. And of course, Charlie Conway wouldn't miss a trip that would take us from Seattle to Sumas to Hope, BC, where we'd launch our Fraser River Foray and a Thompson River trek. But just as our ambitious arrangements finally came together, we'd find that Mike's travel plans were falling apart. A few days before departure, KJ the handler and I made one last pitch.
It's almost like 500 feet.
Huh.
I was going to look again this morning, but I didn't see anything yesterday.
It's doubtful it's going to go down at this stage.
Clearly, the odds were not falling in Mike's favor.
Well, it doesn't look like Mike's going to be joining us on this trip, which is too bad because he knows his way around the Great White North, but KJ and I have been there before. We're going in confident. And you know, it's exciting because we're going to be on our own. We're going to be getting shots that Mike can't get. We're going to be getting video that only you can see right here in Drew's Trackside Adventures.
Onward! First stop, the Emerald City. Wheels on the ground in Seattle. We finally rendezvous with Charlie at Renton, Washington's Municipal Airport, just adjacent to Boeing's 737 assembly plant. Hey, we're here at Renton Airport with Charlie Conway. Charlie's back, the star of Montana shows. I mean, Charlie, this is great. I could totally live here.
It is great. I'm privileged to be able to work here 3 days a week for now. I have a contract with the airport and get to enjoy aviation up close. There are airlines from all over the world here, and we get to see 2 or 3 first flights here every day of airplanes taking off, airliners that have never flown before. So it's a pretty special place.
And these Boeing fuselages look really similar to what we saw on the MRL just a few weeks ago. So what's the status on the ones we saw?
Well, we saw fuselages 55-15 and 55-16 go by, and I believe that one right over there is 55-12. So 55-15 and 16 are following right behind.
So where would they be right now? Are they in a building tucked
They're
away? Or
probably
they
in the main
in the big shed over there?
facility,
Okay.
which is directly behind KJ there.
And wouldn't you know it, railroads play a key role in delivering the fuselages right to Boeing's back door. As Charlie would explain to me, BNSF local fuselage trains first have to roll through the heart of Renton's business district to reach the plant. After traveling just north of town, the local backs the fuselage loads into the delivery tracks. Fuselages are then moved onto a rubber-tired dolly that's used to tow the load into the plant. That's where the skillful employees of Boeing shape them into an amazing flying machine, all in just a matter of days. After 737s leave the plant, they're secured behind the airport perimeter fence, where final preparations are made before their first flight. KJ and I would also make our own departure to get some rest before the next day's drive to the border for the start of our Fraser Canyon foray. Just from the looks of things, you can tell I'm not a morning person. But even after a short night of rest, KJ and I were both set to buckle in and go slay some trains north of the border. Our route to meet Charlie and Bessie in British Columbia would take us through Bellingham, Washington, just in time for a sighting of the Seattle-bound Rocky Mountaineer. A short jaunt to the north would bring us to the border town of Sumas, Washington, where both motor vehicle and BNSF railroad traffic cross the 49th parallel. As the Border Patrol welcomed us into Canada, we could only hope that the same would be true for Charlie and Bessie as they made their way toward the aptly named landing strip at Hope, BC. A happy reunion it was when KJ and I arrived at Hope to find Charlie and Bessie ready for high adventure. But first thing this afternoon, we'd get the lay of the land along the Trans-Canada Highway 1 in the Fraser River Canyon. Bessie's good. There's no 737s, but we got Charlie, our former Alaskan bush. Can we say Alaskan bush pilot? Are you still certified up in Alaska?
Well, it doesn't take a certification, but I flew in Alaska, so.
Alaskan bush pilot, Charlie Conway.
That sounds good, I'll take
Sounds
it.
pretty good. Toyota Prius driver, Charlie Conway. Doesn't have the same ring, does it?
No, it doesn't.
It's like a Pontiac Aztec.
Let's stick with
Probably
bush
better,
pilot.
yeah. Well, we got Charlie. We're here in British Columbia. We got Kent behind the camera. And we got you guys. Good to have you along on this episode of Drew's Trackside Adventures. We were set to capture Canada's finest scenery and railroads up close. Trains were on a roll, and so was I. So another thing I've learned on this trip is you don't buy chips at the airport, because for the same price you can buy a little bag of chips at the airport. You can go to a store like Costco. Never mind. Train. Vancouver-bound freight moves fast in these parts, but we were still quick enough to catch a 90 Mac in an SD30 Eco unit in this CP concept. Yeah, baby. With directional running in effect throughout the canyon subs, traffic on the CN line runs west. So if we wanted to catch trains heading east into the Fraser, we'd have to hit the highway for the CP line. We'd follow the light to the end of a tunnel near Emery Creek, BC. Here, crude but capable abutments support a plate girder bridge on CP's Cascade subdivision. As tempting as it would have been to dip our toes in the cool creek waters, we had a CN freight to chase and pace up to Boston Bar. Back on the heels of our train, we'd find a unique load of CN scale test cars in transit. In these parts, the dense cover of Douglas fir, even when it isn't damp and dark from frequent rain, makes it tough to spot the CP main. But KJ knew just where to stop along Highway 1 for an excellent aerial view, even without Bessie in the mix. Next stop, Boston Bar. We'd arrive along with a westbound CP grain train awaiting a new crew. That gave us plenty of time to snap a quick photo and cross over the Fraser to CP's North Bend. From there, we'd keep one eye on the prize and see our CN eastbound off to CP's Thompson sub. We then returned to Boston Bar, the town named after the Americans who panned for gold on the nearby river bars. There we learned that until 1986, traipsing across the roaring waters required a trip on this aerial ferry. Also preserved in town is an early Canadian Northern Railway station. But as intriguing as the town history might be, a new CP crew had arrived, and we were set to pace them back to hope. Near Hell's Gate, a location where the Fraser narrows and the current quickens to a hellacious pace, we found that sticking to the high road afforded us some great views of the CP train along the rugged cliffs. The twists and tunnels of the CN route barely slow westbound traffic, so we'd really have to hustle to catch our train at Alexandra Bridge Provincial Park.
Never know it's around the corner.
No. Alexandra Bridge. Pretty cool spot. Definitely worth the hike down here. Although the hike to the original bridge didn't yield us a better vantage point to the railroads, we were awestruck by the views of the fast-flowing Fraser and the newer Highway 1 steel span bridge. But with daylight and the canyon beginning to fade, we hiked back out and headed off to a great spot to capture our last train of the Day 1 reconnaissance trip. After taking our fully capable 4x4 SUV down the old Caribou Trail, we ended up at a location both CN and CP refer to as Yale. Although CN's main line is obscured by dense tree cover, CP's Yale tunnels are easily viewable from the old trail. The stage was set, and all we needed was a train. Waiting is usually difficult, but being surrounded by scenery like this makes it all the more bearable. Finally, headlight in the tunnel. After this train passed, we quickly lost our light and headed back to Hope to tie down Bessie, knowing that tomorrow would be full of high-flying action. We wrapped up day 1, a lot of preliminary exploration. We got some ideas for tomorrow, and the good news is the weather's supposed to be just as good. I'm pretty tired, it's been a long day, but we'll kick things off bright and early tomorrow. The skies above were clear, winds were calm. Today, we'd go flying from Hope. pretty sweet airport. Got the main line right behind us. We're about to load up in Bessie and take off. We might even get this guy and hopefully a bunch of other trains from the air. Maybe not so fast. Trains were rolling and the good light was shining, but pilot and producer toiled over the position of each GoPro mount. Finally, it was go time. You nervous?
Time to fly.
First time in a Cessna, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's all good. He shrugs it off. He's good. Got your Dramamine?
I did.
Good. Good man.
Suggestion.
Good
Got
man.
Dramamine and use this patch.
Oh yeah. Let's roll. Get these GoPros turned on. We reviewed the pre-flight checklist, and then let Bessie do what Bessie does best. Take to the sky for a safe and exhilarating flight. Within minutes of takeoff, Chaz had a bead on a CN eastbound rolling along CP rails. When cruising at treetop level, you just can't avoid noticing how thick the tree cover grows in this rainforest region. But that wouldn't deter our Prius driving bush pilot from putting us right on the mark at our familiar Yale Tunnel location. Chaz would turn and burn to pursue our CN freight snaking through the canyon, and then drop us down low for an up-close look at the SD75i Duo. And then it wasn't long before we arrived upon another distinctive pair of local landmarks. After working upstream from the Alexandra Bridges, we'd frame up a westbound CP stack train on the CN line, opposite CP's Whites Creek Bridge and Tunnel. Then, almost effortlessly, Chaz pitched Bessie straight for the bridge in this picture-perfect low pass. Next up, Hell's Gate and another CP westbound on CN. Even though morning shadows would shade in the coal drag along the path, splinters of light would illuminate the mid-train DPU. We soon arrived at Boston Bar in North Bend. While these locations mark the end of the Fraser Canyon subdivisions on both CN and CP, Bessie showed no signs of slowing down. We'd venture onward and be rewarded for doing so at CP's Salmon Creek Bridge near Lytton, BC. Charlie's map showed we were heading into new territory, this time in the Thompson River Canyon. But what it didn't show was smoke from forest fires, typical this time of year. Charlie made the call to avoid the fray and keep us safe, then steered Bessie back towards Hope. Heading south, we'd fly above the spectacular Cisco Bridges and see more spectacular scenery, plus another surprise along the way. On our approach to Hope, we'd tickle the treetops and our fancy for more railroading action in the Thompson River Canyon. There, things would heat up on the rails in this desert-like terrain. Both CN and CP trains slither through this rugged, rocky canyon, and we'd cover it by land and air. Next time on Drew's Trackside Adventures, Thompson River Trek.